Hi, thank you so much for sharing what's going on with your school and with yourself, family, and friends. I really appreciated hearing from you and allowing me to pray specifically for grieving friends and for parents who are traveling and working, crossing state lines. And one of the things that I did notice is that we also realize that there's opportunity in this crisis. And there's an old saying that crisis is opportunity. But it's also important to remember that this is a crisis. And earlier in our semester, we developed a rule of life. Let me give you a few principles for what I call a rule of crisis, if you will. Now, my wife is a social worker and a therapist, and she is very in tune, probably a little more in tune than I am with sometimes what I'm thinking and feeling. But one of the things that we have talked about and I wanted to share is just the reality that we are working in a new way, we're living in a new way, we're thinking in a new way, and we've never had a social threat like this. So there are a lot of stressors on us. So many of you may feel just this undercurrent of fatigue, a sense of restlessness or aimlessness. And some of the things that is very important is to realize that there are stressors in our lives right now that we can't really account for, right? And a lot of us are highly motivated, and in an academic sense, we tend to take charge and to lead, but we also realize that there's a sense of just somewhat global helplessness, if you will, which can be unsettling and very fatiguing. So it's important to remember that you might not be operating at 100% and to be okay with that. To just do what you can and allow that to be plenty. Take care of yourself. Sleep if you have to. Enjoy the little things. Make sure that we're setting aside a time for God. That's the obvious one, right? But what about setting time aside to do absolutely nothing? Because sometimes we need it. I found myself early on needing to just sit down and do nothing, and almost like if I was in very vigorous training. And I was like, what is going on with my body? Why am I absolutely wiped out? Well, if we're thinking and doing and planning from morning to night for weeks, our body just can't keep up, and it's going to make us kind of shut down. Now, I hope that you are being energized, and I hope that your spouse and family are providing refreshment for you spiritually and emotionally. But we also realize that there are times when familiarity can breed contempt. So it's important to have boundaries. One of the things that you may want to consider is having technology to be off limits in certain places. Maybe there is a room, or maybe there's a place in your house that you're going to not allow technology to be a part of, or there are certain times that you will not, no matter what, be on technology. So I trust that you can come up with your own rule of crisis, but I just wanted to let you know that I heard you. I've heard your prayer requests. Continue to lift those up, but also allow yourself to realize that we're in a crisis time, and you may want to come up, and you probably already have your own rule of crisis. So hang in there.